1,000 years of scandals, rebellions, eccentric monarchs, glistering crowns, and a castle that could tell juicier stories than any Netflix drama. From warriors with swords bigger than their egos to rulers who pioneer empire building, the British royal family has been at the center of it all. Wars were fought in their names, laws rewritten because of their whims, and hearts broken or mended because of their marriages. But how did a once backwatered island on the edge of Europe end up with a monarchy that still commands global fascination today? Is it the sheer opulence, the mystery of royal protocols, or the allure of a family navigating history, trickiest twists and turns? Buckle up, because this is no dusty history lesson. This is the brief, witty, and attention-grabbing story of the British royal family, a soap opera spanning millennia, from swords and siege to tiaras and tabloids. Let's dive in. The early years, from chaos to crown. The story begins in 1066, an all-important date you probably remember from school. William the Conqueror, a Norman duke with an axe to grind, sailed across the Channel, won the Battle of Hastings, and claimed the English throne. Bye-bye Anglo-Saxon, hello Normans. William I, aka the Conqueror, brought castles, order, and a tight grip on power. But the peace he instilled came with a hefty price: harsh rule, crushed revolts, and the infamous Doomsday Book, a national audit before Excel spreadsheets were cool. Fast forward through the next few generations, and things get messier. Kings jostled for power, but royal lines weren't always smooth. Henry II's reign brought some exciting drama. He accidentally sparked a martyrdom when his knight mothered the Thomas Becket, Archbishop of Canterbury. Cue centuries of pilgrimage and a major PR nightmare for the monarchy. Then came King John, one of history's least popular kings. John lost battles, lands, and the respect of his nobles. They forced him to sign the Magna Carta in 1215, basically the medieval version of "you can't do whatever you want" clause. Though John didn't love it, this marked the beginning of the constitutional limits in royal power. Poor guy also gets his bad rep in Robin Hood stories. Plantagenets, Wars and Roses. Enter the Plantagenets, a dynasty that could write the book on family feuds. They gave us the powerhouses like Edward I, who conquered Wales. That's why Prince Charles has his title, and gave Scotland serious headaches. But don't forget his son, Edward II, who got himself the throne and possibly murdered under very suspicious circumstances. Let's just say it wasn't a pleasant ending. The crown eventually bounced to Edward III, a military genius who kicked off the 100 Years' War. His grandson Richard II, however, managed to squander all that goodwill. Richard got himself overthrown, setting up a royal spat that would make the Kardashian blush. What followed was the War of the Roses. The Plantagenets split into two rival branches: the Yorks, White Roses, and Lancasters, Red Roses. Brothers fought brothers, cousins turned on cousins, and it was basically a Game of Thrones prototype. Finally, Henry Tudor in Lancaster swooped in, defeated Richard III at Bosworth Field in 1485, and married Elizabeth of York to seal the deal. A new dynasty was born: the Tudors. The Tudors: marriages, beheading, and religion. The Tudors, my friends, were peak dramas. Henry VII may have stabilized things, but his son Henry VIII was the main event. Henry VIII wasn't just famous for his sixth wife. He also split England from the Catholic Church when the Pope refused to annul his first marriage. Cue the birth of the Church of England, beheading and property seizures, Fun fact, Henry's habit of wedding, divorcing, and executing wives inspired the rhyme "Divorce beheaded, died, divorce beheaded, survived." Henry's children were no less fascinating. Edward VI ruled briefly but was sickly. Mary I, Bloody Mary, restored Catholicism with fire and fury. Finally, Elizabeth I, the iconic Virgin Mary, stepped up. Elizabeth ruled for 45 years, defeated the Spanish Armada, and made England a global power. She also stayed unmarried, which left no heir. Enter the Stuarts, no heir. The Stuarts, civil war, revolution, and a lost head. James VI of Scotland became James I of England, uniting the crown in 1603. James was scholarly but a bit boring compared to his son Charles I and proved far more dramatic. Charles sparked the English Civil War by clashing with the Parliament, lost, and got his head chopped off in 1649. No king, no problem. Entered Oliver Cromwell, the anti-monarchist leader who ran England as a republic for 11 daring years. When the monarchy struck back, Charles II, the party-loving merry monarch, was restored to the throne in 1660, bringing theatre, fun, and few illegitimate children. The Stuarts entered on a striking note. James II was booted out during the Glorious Revolution of 1688. Parliament invited William and Mary, James' Protestant daughter, and her Dutch husband to rule instead, further cementing the monarchy as the constitutional rather than absolute. The Hanoverians, scandals, empires, and revolution. In 1740, Britain imported the Hanoverians from Germany. George I didn't even speak English, and George II wasn't much better. Enter George III, who had one of the longest reigns in British history, but lost the American colonies. Oops. Also, he went mad. But let's give credit where it's due. His reign coincided with the rise of the British global dominance. By the time we got to George IV, the monarchy was more ceremonial than ever. Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1901, however, changed everything. She ruled for 63 years, saw the height of the British Empire, and became a global symbol of stability. Even if she wasn't always thrilled about being queen, Victoria was also a pioneer of royal branding. Her image, family, and mourning habits shaped the modern monarchy. The Windsors, world wars, abdication, and modern scandals. Fast forward to the 20th century, the royal family rebranded as the House of Windsor. During World War I, dropping the German-sounding name Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Then came Edward VIII, abdication in 1936. Edward chose love over duty, marrying American divorcee Wallis Simpson and causing a constitutional crisis. His brother George VI took the throne, guiding Britain through World War II and becoming a symbol of courage. And then there's Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning monarch in British history. Elizabeth ascended in 1952 and weathered scandals, modernization, and global changes with the poise of a true monarch. Under her reign, the monarchy adapted to television, tabloids, and the internet with varied success. Today, her son, King Charles III, carries the mantle, navigating a monarchy still grappling with tradition, modern relevance, and the world's endless fascination with royal drama. The British royal family is more than just a series of kings and queens. It's a story of power, survival, scandals, and adaptation. A 1,000-year drama that shaped history as much as it's been shaped by it. From William the Conqueror's first invasion to Elizabeth's second final days, every twist and turn in the royal tale reflects a changing Britain and often a changing world. Some monarchs were villains, others were heroes, some were both, depending on who you ask. But love them or loathe them, the British royal remains a unique blend of history, celebrity, and symbolism. The castle may be centuries old, but the allure of their story is timeless. So here's a question for you. What does the future of British monarchy look like? With tradition under scrutiny and the modern world demanding change, will the Windsors adapt yet again or risk fading into history? And for a juicier thought, if you could time travel to meet any British monarch, who would it be? And what's the first question you'd ask? Please let us know in the comments below. Ready for more royal intrigue and timeless tale? Check out the next video on screen to uncover another fascinating chapter in history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all things royal. See you in the next video.